It's a good morning to you. Welcome to Asake Online. My name is Zenzele Ndebele and this is the Breakfast Club. I think for everyone who grew up in Bulawayo and probably in Zimbabwe, you know something about CSC. It was one of the biggest companies in Zimbabwe. At its peak, it was employing about 4,000 people, slaughtering about 1,000 cattle a day. But we know the story. Like many other parastatals, over the years, it was run down and eventually it collapsed. In 2018, CSC was taken over by a company called Boustead Beef, and we know the stories around. We have heard they don't have money, they don't have this. So today we decided to visit CSC as well as CSC tannery where they used to do leather to find out what's going on. We've talked to the guys who are running this place now to find out what's going on. Are they reviving the company? What are the challenges? Are we likely to have the CSC that we used to know in the 90s? So join us as we find out the story of CSC. What's going on? Is there any rehabilitation that is going on? Is there any production that is going on? Let's hear from the guys who are running CSC now.
When we took over the CSC, the whole assets, we then went through the procedure of looking what's there, what's not there. We discovered challenges, which led to a process of corporate rescue. Initially, the process was judicial management, but it was then outlawed by the courts when we changed the business laws in Zimbabwe into the new business order, which then meant that the process of judicial management was stopped. We then did the corporate rescue, which we are in at the moment. The CSC is under corporate rescue, not Boustead Beef, trying to address challenges that were faced in the contract between Boustead Beef and government. Most of the challenges are around the issue of that some of the assets are no longer there that were signed into the agreement. Also, other assets are not in the state that everyone expected them to be. We all know the challenges that parastatals face in Zimbabwe. So when the agreement was signed and what was found on the ground differed, the only way to protect the agreement and move forward was to put CSC under corporate rescue and try and recover and get CSC into order so that the agreement continues. But in the meantime, with the corporate rescue practitioner, in this case is Mr. Shoko, he has allowed us as Boustead Beef to continue rehabilitating the Bulawayo plant and other plant so that by the time the corporate rescue process finds a conclusion, we will then have had a head start in terms of a number of things, in terms of the plant rehabilitation and the business on its own. Government, I think, was misled by the management of CSC when the agreement was signed, was when they gave government the idea or the confidence that the CSC assets are intact. Most of the CSC assets are attached by various creditors for various credits. So in the case when the investor then came into the ground, required to see the title deeds that must be handed over to a bank and for safekeeping during the process of the agreement, the livestock joint venture agreement, we discovered that the title deeds are actually held by other banks for various creditors. This is the major challenge that we're having. So as we're talking, we're having a situation where whatever we're investing, he has no security. Our security now is the results and the procedure of the corporate rescue rather than the agreement on its own, because what we agreed in the agreement and what we have is not matching. In simple, straightforward terms is that we are rehabilitating an asset that is a custodian somewhere. And in actual fact, what we need to say is that after this process, the verification of the credits, we will definitely pay out the credits as the investor. It's part of the condition that we have in the agreement. The figure that we have got when we signed the agreement and obviously the figure that we are now hearing are two different figures. So at the end of the process, we will know the rightful figure and what we are paying. We are taking over the credit in terms of the High Court order, the scheme of arrangement. It was sitting at around $33 million US. And by the time of signing, it was already 56, I guess, million. But it's not the issue. The issue is that we are taking over because we have already committed to paying off the credit in signing the agreement. But the issue is that there are other things that the management had not declared to the shareholder, in this case government, which we then discovered ourselves when we get to the ground. These disparities are what has caused the challenges we're having at the moment, and which we hope and we have full confidence that the due process of the corporate rescue will clarify and get us to an order.
I mean, CSC has had farms, there's so many cattle. Where are these things?
I think those are issues that the corporate rescue must answer to. Was what we found and what is on the papers are different things. This is what is investigating and trying to bring a report and work out what we call a business plan that will be workable within the confines of what is now there.
So it posted beef. I mean, why are you in a company that costs so much instead of maybe starting something new?
I think we are all coming from in a situation where we thought we all believe the revival of CSC has a benefit to Zimbabwe, has a benefit to us as shareholders, has a benefit to also our investors. And there's a potential in CSC. And I think if you tickle the management and the running of CSC, it will be very profitable. It will be able to come out of its challenges easily when it's properly run.
I know we've had different conversations about CSC. We saw the rehabilitation that is going on. Your own timeline, when do you think CSC will be functional?
One thing I'll tell you, Zenzele, is that by end of year, the Bulawa plant will be moving. It might be earlier than that, but by end of year. Now, the challenge we're having now, we can take to you and say, in 2 weeks' time, we have the condenser here. But because of COVID, no one knows. But definitely, no matter what happens, by end of the year, this plant will be slaughtering, it will be moving. Just like this side of leather where things are already moving. This Bulawa plant, we wanted to make sure by end of year Bulawa is up. We'll be trying to move into Masvingo. Remember, CSC is scattered. We want to do Bulawa and Masvingo going across so that by mid-year next year, we'll have 3 or 4 abattoirs in full operation. For now, we'll look into rehabilitating Bulawayo and Masvingo in the mid-term plan, because some are actually beyond repair in terms of working on them. That then will then go into the cold chain in Harare, obviously because of export purposes. Then others we have actually put plans around them, the assets of CSC, because most of them you can't do much because of the damage that has occurred on them.
Are you confident that this company at one point will be functional like it is?
I'm more than confident that it will be functional. It will be working. I think after you have towed down here the leather side, it has shown what we can do, and we change things. We will change, definitely. The whole idea was to rehabilitate the plant is that most of that plant has not been operational over 15-20 years now. So when we are saying we're rehabilitating, when we say we want to open CSA, the Bulawa plant, it will be in full operation. We are not going to do shortcuts or kia as it has been before. We're getting everything from the engine room, the condensers, everything repaired and sorted. At this moment, the first batch of the parts have come through into the compressors. I think by end of this week or next week, the 3 to 4 compressors will be up. And then we are also waiting for condensers that are coming from China. Then we'll then go into boiler room. These, I think, in the next 1 month to 2 months, depending on the logistical challenges that we are facing now, especially with the Durban route. With the ship that are supposed to dock in Durban, everyone seems to be worried. How do we then get it? We might have to reroute to Namibia, then get the thing. That will also have an effect. But at the moment, I think by end of this week or next week, we'll have 3 or 4 of our compressors in full operation.
Thina specialize nge-old look ngoba ilapho Zen abantu abaningi ama-clients abale proper buying power ngabantu aba-old school, and they prefer izinto that will last for a lifetime. Sile esinye isitulo esisenzileyo laphansi njengoba sizangena khona. I-client ithe ifuna siphume silo mchiso. Kukhanya ukuthi inkomo eyakhulela ekhaya yaze uhlatshwa yachuka, senza something out of it. So ungakhangela ukuthi lezi sizichuke last week, and asoze sizispray ukuthi zishayile kumbe sizifake through umtshina lona ayinayo ukuthi zibe lokhu le pattern flowing. Ungazikhangela zilama lokhu ama blemishes are natural, are normal. So what we do thina into esizenza sifuna zibe as natural as possible. Then ekufikeni kwethu lapha bekusenzwa only i-wet blue, but i-tunnel lace sihambise to i-level lapho esisenza khona i-full grade. Sifike safundisa esibatholile the new skills. Then sasesithi thina sizazenzela i-furniture, siyenza amabhanti ngoba sithi vision 2030 sifuna ukuthi every Zimbabwean should own a leather belt. So islogan zethu sithi ibhanti emuntwini. Yeah, so neslogan sebhanti emuntwini.
So as a person, how long have you been, what's your history in the tunnel?
My grandfather was a tanner.
Okay.
Yeah, on my mother's side. Then on my dad's side, my grandfather was a hunter. So I inherited both. Then there's a time when my sister was working for the museums. So we used to go out to collect our specimen together. Then I developed some proper liking for hunting. At some point, I registered a safari company. I'm a hunter, I'm a taxidermist, I'm a leather technologist, I'm a furniture designer and restorer at the same time. So into zonke sizenza la ngingazihambelayo la kuma different workshops emazweni ukuthi ngiye kuba lolwazi esingathi thina the global knowledge ukwenza ukuthi nxa semphenduka ngizofundisa abangikhaya back home. Mina ngazalelwa it's about 11 km from here. Ngikhaya kuseLuve. Ngazalelwa eLuve. So this is not my backyard, this is my yard. So the idea of coming back home and empower our people has always been with us. We could have gone somewhere else, but this is our home. And the problem is like into esifana leather technology of furniture designing, the restoration as it offer esikolo la local. So abantu abaningi or engibazi abangena kule ihlekana la bahamba bafunde English baphendula. But industry le iranwa ngama families athize. So kule monopoly, and they've controlled this thing for years. So Tina was saying, it's high time we break those barriers. City Tina, that the indigenous or the natives. But it difference with Babenga own. So Namja City says so sevens. See own a lot. Then we run it. It has been a very hard journey for me. And I'll be frank, I have got all the praise for a new dispensation. They have given me a chance to show what I can do or who I am. Because for all these years, I've been oppressed. And this and that. At some point, I've been said to be a suspected listener. That's the time when I opened a safari company. It became very hard because I was locked up for almost lasted more than a year, and it took away all my resources. I've always gone out, year 7 out of the country, come back, invest my money back home because this is my home. There's no other home. So I think over Kates, shop, it has made me to share what I have with other people. They'll be retiring very soon because I'm a 58-year-olds. I've asked them to bring their sons. And to show that appreciation, I brought my son. He's 17. So on my school holidays, he comes here, he works with their sons. Because I've said to them, can you impart the knowledge that you have, that you've had for all these years? ngoba labo abalapha ngama-third generation. Abanye oyisemkhulu bafika la bevela e-Amtalilela u-81. So oyisemkhulu be-retire kwangena oyise be-retire kwangena bona. So now it's their kids coming in. So now I'm saying, let's work. Thina silapha sisebenza as a family. Still fika nalo kulabantu abangani about 19 or so, but we laid off quite a number. Our management, because these are the people most of the times ababulalayo ayilokuze ama-establishments. So we had to come in siqalise wutsha with the new mindset and the new direction. So we kept obaba bonke sabathola abadala, abanye sibalandile emakhaya abalama different expertise to come and impart their knowledge with the youngsters. We have adopted abantwana from the constituents where we're bringing them in. Sibafundise, we'll take you around and show you. Senza kathesi i-wet blue sesamse to the next level. Sesithana isicompensate to a full grade. Senza i-harness sesile built local manufacturing plant, which will show you. Sikhona uproducer ingxenye up to 2,000 belts a day. So we're saying ukuthi come 2030, we want to produce enough belts for every Zimbabwean to own one. Because we're saying leather byproduct here beef industry, and Tina silapa is recyclers. So it shouldn't be expensive to a local person. Ngoba inkomo yiwo abazelusayo, yiwo abanikazi bazo. Why should they raise inkomo, then at the end of the day they can't afford our products that come from inkomo zabo? Yes, uzabe seyithengisile, but le mali azayenza, it should afford them ukuthi ours to own a proper shoe, a proper belt, a proper even a leather jacket, because it's a byproduct. Singayenzi idure kakhulu ngoba kwamanye amazwe, I've been to Ethiopia several times in siyakhangela the way they do ilokuze isikhumba sabo and the Egyptians. Isikhumba sabo sichipile njengoba sichipe even ukwedlula ama-fabrics that we buy here. So we're saying ukuthi unless and until we accept ukuthi singabi greedy, sikhangele ukuthi i-investment yethu ibe for the next generations, ingabi ngakhathesi kusasa. The idea is to build a wealth, not just the riches. So it will take us time, and we are not rushing ukuthi city tina sifuna ukuthi city get rich quick namhla okusasa, because we're doing this for the generations to come. So amabhethu yes siyawenza.
Wow.
So tina what we do, even ama-road kills siyahamba siyethenga inyamazana siyelokhu ze-national parks. Lezi zimpisi esazithenga e-national parks. So whether it's PAC or road kills siyahamba siyethenga and bring them back to life. Sithi tina yonke into yaphilayo ayingahambi ikhohlakala. Ngoba lanxa siwenzile sayenza so, we can donate these to ezikolo for abantwana to see. So that nxa sikhuluma nge-conservation and preservation of our wild animals, they get to know ukuthi inyamazana enjani.
Wow.
Tina, we're in partnership with government.
Wow.
This is a government thing. So we have taken it over to resuscitate it, make it work. Then people get to see that it's possible to rebuild these things and work. Then with time, we'll give it back. Then the government will take over. The department still department. So what I have done, then I retired. When I came back, when we started this business, this is one of the specialists, SLAs. I think we've got only 2 of them left. We talk about Rusere. I had to go and tell you to append to your car. Yeah, Ekaya Koromot. So, Wapen to Gasilaila. So, he's teaching Amanya Amayutet. He is imparting his skill set.
Insoro wenzou aya makombati yaichiri diki isati yapora zvema zvipasi iyo misoro yenyati dehwe ridu rakauya first stage yedu ringangora kana rakaoma kana riri nyoro tinotanga tarisa munhu first stage yedu atinisa mishonga yedu nayo ropfawa manje rakanga rabva ipapo tine puranga tinoshandisa rati iyi inonzi jackknife yatinoshandisa saka ndinobva chiridhonza kusvikira rese ndaritenderedza right kana ndaripedza pano taane shaving yatiri shaving machine iri paserapa ndopatinoenda ranchanonekuratidza shaving machine yedu kana rakange rabva pashaving machine umu nematinaisa muno tinoidi matinisa mushonga nechrome tobva rakange rabva rakamurikona sezvakaita munhu pane dzimwe nzvimbo dzatinosonga dzimwe tichipecha tine mhuka yatisingabati chete idhungi dehwe redhungi chete ndoratisingaaite chete kune mamwe saitinoita yezvinezvi tiri kuita enzou tinoita mabhafalo tinoita tiri kuaita macrocodiles chaita kuratidza misheni watinga tine mamwe atinoari paoiri mahipa kambani kunoku Mr. Sibanda ndio the first man kuuya pano pakambani ine kutanga kuita zvinhu izvi nezvatiri kuita zvimufeteni vaingo kuno kudhara kwaingoitwa weight gate yaingoitwa weight push takabvisa mutinire nechigadzira kurumurira vani yatoaisa panapa toavharira pano kuti asaona kuitira pakupinda pamushina mushina unopinda mati anenge ari pakati kwete ane mvura kana kuti akaoma yaya arinenge ari pakati nepakati ane mvura mvura asisina mvura saka idzi mombe idzi atinoti nzvine nechikutariraisa aya tinoshevha kuenda pathickness yatinge tichida iwet parira parini wet Boustead saka tienda thickness yatinichida kana toda kuita yebhutsu kana kuita masofa kana kuti majakets zvese kana kuti mahandbags anenge achibva panechi aya Mumbai. E13. Yeah. Yeah.
Because what is it to me? Then we plant planted relay, the small plant.
Okay.
This is professional about 2,000 grams a day. But it's going to say now because even so that's really appreciate. Well, city last 2030 spoon with this city every Zimbabweans will have. We're looking at about maybe 10 million band, which will translate to about 90 to 100,000 a month. So these are the youths that make this. But I love giving the touch that I've given to them. These guys can work anywhere. They know exactly what's going on, and they taste the touch that you expect. I'll take you around and show you what they just done. The proper taste back. There's a keep an answer here in the area. Long Bauche.
Okay.
He's a designer, he's a pattern maker, he designs it, he does pattern grading, he does literally everything. Where you find umtomnyama owazi ukukalisa even from umpikicha ayenze i-product izipho. They produce world-class logos quality because they've been in this thing for way more than I have been. Yeah. So we've got Amanyama youths that are also coming. They come in and go. They were fundis because we're saying Uchi as long as fundis, even as Golola, how to design and manufacture e-logos. E-leather is different from e-fabric.
We are working on resuscitating this tunnel. When we got here, they only went down because they were into only wet blue. Then global market, when it changed at some point, the people that were against eating meat also started complaining about leather. So industry went down and these guys couldn't get up anymore. But they were stripping. When we got AMA reports, guys would sell equipment for salaries. Then you start asking yourself, if I sell a piece of equipment for a salary, how am I going to get the next salary the following month or maybe the year after? So quite a number of things were lost. And they closed it down completely, I think between 2011 and 2014. By someone else who was doing something completely different, where he sends his stock feed. And that's the time when this thing was completely run down. So Tina, we took over this thing 14 October 2019, Ipumel Judiciary Management. But we officially opened on the 6th of January 2020. Unfortunately, March COVID yachaya. So esasicabangela ukuthi kade kusaphela umnyaka sabe sikwenze kwama. Kodwa sasesinanzelela ukuthi ungcono siye phambili. Sesilokho sikhula sisiya phambili. Sithole kungela lutho olusebenzayo oluningi. Bekule drum LE1 ekade le capacity of 25. Ngoba kufe ama bearing lama gears and everything. But sasesi repair and rebuild amanye. Lona sili rebuilt about 6 months back. Silibiyele low capacity 250 a day. So out of the 13 drums, still 9 that are working. of which a minimum that we run per drum is about 200. Over sibalekela uthi swa overload. We want them to last for another maybe 40, 50 or 60 years.
So there's a 200 scheme height.
Yeah, it normally one can take up to 200, but iliyathatha up to 250, but tina just as a lenser at 200 so that at least they last longer. So khathesi sile capacity yokwenza more than 1,000 hides a day. Then what we also did, sase sithi kayiqhubekele phambili yenze okunye engawenzi before eternal. So sase sithola ilokuzeni imchina yokuthi sikwazi ukwenza isikhumba esesiprocesswe saze sayafika ekugcineni. I-wet glue yi-process eyenziwa ukuthi isikhumba sisale siqatha ngendlela yokuthi nxa ususiya phambili ngeprocess ukwazi ukukhipha ama-pieces awenza ama-shoe lokhuzeni inner soles, then yikho lapho i-second layer engakhipha khona osoid and other things, then i-top part sesenza i-full grain lakho khonokho umuntu abefuna ukukwenza. So yikho ababekwenza kuphela. So thina sesekudlulisile ukuthi sesikwazi ukwenza isikhumba sokuthi senze i-product. Sesiproduce amabhanti, siproduce izikhwama, siproduce i-furniture, then sile department esiyivulileyo e-taxiderm lapho esidila khona nge-game product. So sile relationship esilayo manje le-national parks lama-RDCs ukwenzela ukuthi izikhumba zonke bezilahleka ngoba sezingatholi indlela yokuthi zigcine ziprocessiwe. Sesile sivumelwano nobudlelwano esilabo ukuthi we get those hides, we bring them over, we produce. We have done a anti-poaching gear for RDCs, and we're looking forward to doing quite a number for in national parks also. Then sithole kulabantu abambalwanyana bekule almost 19 or 22, but then we laid off a management sasala labantu aba-technical. So ebantwini aba-technical ngabantu abadala who could be retiring very soon. So what we have done, sithethe abantu ababo ukuthi baze ba-imparte abadala i-skills abo ebantwaneni, because they were not willing to teach other kids from the street, which I understand ukuthi industry le vele ibigodliwe by a few families ukuthi bebengafuni information iphume iye ngaphandle, where you find ukuthi ngapha it's a generation of owners, ngapha a generation of workers. So we've said thina lethani abantu abanye ngoba la abadala esilabo la abanye i-third generation oyisemkhulu, abanye basebenza lapha, abanye uyise basebenza lapha. So khathesi silabantwana abangu-8 which were brought in by their fathers ukuthi nxa be-retire these boys take off. Sile program esiyenzayo le community yethu la as part of his social responsibility yethu, where we are manufacturing amabhanti and we are giving them at the lowest price we can supply them ukuthi bahambe baye out in the streets, bahambe bayithengisa and make at least 100%, but abanye they are making between 200 and 300%. So what we have also done is a design studio where we have the old guys are highly experienced, and they're also training the youths ukuthi bangene into the system. Okwenza senze njalo ukuthi thina lapha elizweni asilazo izikolo offer those courses as a leather technology, as a furniture designing, restoration, taxidermy and so forth. Abantu bonke abakhona including me sakufundela ngaphandle kwelizwe. But then mina I decided ukuthi I'm coming back not to get a job but to create employment. Then engufundileyo lamphandle ngifundise our local people so that kusasa sikwazi ukuthi i-conservation, the preservation of our natural resources zethu siyakwazi ukuthi siyimanage usiya phambili. Thina, the sky is never the limit, we want to go further. Silesilogan sebhanti emuntwini sithi thina come 2030 sifuna ukuthi every Zimbabwean, it's our dream ukuthi abe at least a leather belt, ngoba isikhumba sisenza la, inkomo ngezethu yithi abanikazi, yithi abadli benyama bakhona. So isikhumba siyi-byproduct of i-beef locuzen industry. So okuthi ukuthi nxa into yethu iphumelela, kuyabe kusitsho ukuthi kumele senze 10 or more million belts in the next coming 7 years. And if that happens, kusho ukuthi siyabe silabantu abaningi abazabe bethole umsebenzi. It's either okuproducer leso sikhumba, okuproducer lawo mabhanti, abazaproducer ama-buckles and other things. So kusho ukuthi nxa i-dream yethu isiya phambili, kusho ukuthi le-employment, le-empowerment izabe ibuyele in numbers. Stripping of equipment, it took time, a long time back, but khathesi what we have managed to do, sibe le nhlanhla yokuthi quite a number of old technical people sibalandile emakhaya, sayabacela, we shared a vision yethu labo and they understood it. They came back, sazoba labo sahlala labo phansi. Ama-gears, into ezifana nama-pinions, ezifana lama-motors ethu, abadala babe ngama-engineers kwamanye ama-engineering companies, they have given us support by coming back, bazosincedisa ukuthi sikhande ezinye insimbi, ngoba ezinye kazisatholakali and ezinye khathesi umhlaba uvalile, sithe thina akusoze kusimise khona kuyana, ngoba sifuna ukuthi sitshengise ukuthi lanxa sikhona khona siyakhona ukuthi siyilungise into efileyo, siyivuse singakaphumeli ngaphandle. And lokho esikwenzileyo la, we are very proud of ourselves ngoba we did it singaphumelanga ngaphandle kwelizwe. I think yake yaba labantu abayedlula 100, but khathesi that was at its peak. Thina khathesi sile 53, and I think we're doing something. And isifiso sethu ukuthi ngokuya kwesikhathi engxenye singagcina sifike ku-200 or more, ngoba sikhangelela ukuthi nxa ama-drum wethu wonke elunga, imishina yethu yonke siyifaka ngendlela esifuna ngakhona, i-production yethu isenza, ngoba besifuna ukuvula lokhu isikolonyana okuncane ukuthi abantu bethu bonke sibafundise, siba-empower futhi ukwenzela ukuthi bakwazi ukuthi into abazenzayo zingene into the market. Then sizabe sesiqala ukwenza engxenye second shift and the third shift. Isifiso sethu ukuthi sibe le 3 shifts, meaning ukuthi we could be running indawo le even like it's 3 companies. Ngoba nxa singathatha the same machine or the machines sisebenzise abantu abachiyeneyo, njengoba sile 53 khathesi, we can easily have 156 nxa senze the 3 shifts and sisangakhulu.
Let me say I'm impressed with the progress that is going, especially on the leather section. I know a lot can happen. I know a lot can be done. I said that the slaughtering business is closed for now, but you can see that and we are hoping that soon the factory will be up and running. But I'm actually impressed by the people that I've seen here, young men with a vision to actually try and revive the place. I liked the leather part. I mean, they're actually producing nice leather bags. I saw very expensive bags that are produced here, and I think the future looks bright. I just hope that they're going to have the right support, and I hope that politicians are not going to interfere, because most of the times initiatives like these are mostly affected or spoiled by politicians who are trying to block, because and now they don't want the companies to be revived because they think that they're going to lose what they looted. But I hope that this process is going to go on, and one day CSC is going to employ the many and the thousands of people that they used to employ. My name is Zenzele Ndebele. Till we meet again in other programs, have a good day.